Let's talk about what affects the range of your Tesla Model 3. In other words, what are some things that you can do to maybe at least keep the range where it's supposed to be and not prematurely lower it? Right now, the range on mine is 272 miles per 100% charge. There will be probably some reduction in that over time. I can't imagine that for the whole life of the car, or in this case, the warranty, which is I think 8 years, it's going to maintain 272 miles at 100%, but we shall see. Real quick, this is a 2024. It is the Model 3 rear-wheel drive with a range of 272 miles. So the first thing is weight. Obviously, the more weight you have in the car, the less distance you're going to get because it has to haul around more, right? So I would think it's probably not a good idea to load the car down with things that maybe you're never going to use. All kinds of stuff. You ever look inside somebody's car and you see all kinds of junk and stuff, and then if they happen to pop the trunk, you see even more stuff in there? I mean, that's why Tesla and other EV manufacturers get rid of extra weight, right? Like a spare tire. And it's unfortunate on the point of spare tires. I really do feel more confident having a spare tire, even if it's a donut in the car. Tesla doesn't even provide one of those inflator foam kit things, you know, that gunk that you squirt inside the tire to stop just a specific kind of leak. I mean, if you have a blowout on the side of the tire, those aren't going to matter either. But that would be a little bit more peace of mind if you don't have a spare, which we do not. Number 2, speed. How fast you drive the car, or how often you stop the accelerator. I mean, if you're constantly racing everybody off the line at the stoplights, if you've just got to be first, you're going to see that charge level drop, or those miles decrease quicker. Because the more you're on the accelerator, and this is really common sense, the faster you're using the battery, the power, right? So the way to do it with the Tesla, I think, is nice and even, nice and consistent. You know, when you take off from stops, just gently ease in on the accelerator. You don't have to floor it. You don't have to be the first one to get to that next stoplight, which is probably 100 feet away, right? You'll get more life or more longevity, I guess, out of that particular charge if you drive that way. Number 3, passengers. And maybe yourself as well. You know, I could stand to lose a few pounds. The more weight you put in, just like hauling around junk and stuff, applies to passengers as well. You know, if you constantly are driving around with 3 other people in the car, you're going to see that charge drop quicker because it's hauling around more weight. Maybe that's a good reason to go on a diet for me, right? If I lost a little bit of weight, maybe I'd go even further. But it makes perfect sense. If you're constantly hauling around people, bodies, you're gonna deplete that charge faster than you would if you were just alone in the car. Number 4, brake regeneration. There is a regeneration feature in the car, of course. You've experienced that, I'm sure, if you've driven a Tesla. If you haven't, what it is when you let off the accelerator, the brakes kick in automatically. What it's doing is it's charging the batteries. Does it charge a lot? Not really. Honestly, I've never seen an increase in my gauge from brake regeneration, but I'm sure there's some 0.00 something percent that it increases the battery in the car. So if you're not using that feature, in other words, if you're driving it like a normal vehicle and pushing on the brake every time you let off the gas or the accelerator, you're not taking advantage of the brake regeneration feature of the car. You have to do that to add whatever little bit you can. Next up, number 5, battery degradation. That is probably the biggest issue I think that we run into with any EV, right? Over time, batteries are going to lose their effectiveness, their efficiency. They're not going to charge like they did before, and you're not going to have, in my case, 272 miles you're going to see that reduce over time. What can you do to correct it? Well, there's a lot of theories out there. I would follow the recommendations that Tesla provides for the most part. Now, if you didn't know, there's two different types of batteries that Tesla's using. I think they're going fully to the LPD, I think it's called, or LPC. I can't remember what it's called. The most recent one is in this car, and the theory has been that you should never charge the battery greater than 80%. You should only charge it up to 80% because if you go any higher than that, it's not good for the battery. And that's true on the nickel, cadmium, or whatever battery the other one is. You should only charge that one to 80%. However, with the setup that's in the current Model 3 rear-wheel drive, and it is specific to the rear-wheel drive version, you can go 100%. You can go 100% every time you charge the car. Matter of fact, Tesla recommends that you plug it in every time you're not driving it. So let's say you take a trip to Lowe's or something, I don't know, and it's relatively close. You might use a couple percentage points or something of the battery. According to Tesla, when you get it home, you should plug it in. It's going to fire back up to 100%, which, by the way, you should leave it set at 100%. And then it's going to be constantly ready to go, and it's not going to affect, at least anything significantly, the life or charging capability of your battery. The jury's still out for me on that. I go back and forth. What I've been doing recently, you know, I'll run it down to 80 some odd percent, which I know is not a lot as far as usage goes, and then I'll plug it in. Tesla does state that you should charge the car up, I guess if you're not plugging it in all the time, at least once a week up to 100%. And that has something to do with conditioning the battery or something to do with the battery, technically beyond me, right? But that's what they recommend to do. I'm not sure which way I'm going to go. I've heard other reports of people charging it to 85%. Normally, and then once a week plugging it in and running it up to 100%. Of course, you have to consider your electric bill. If you have one of those plans where you get cheaper electricity depending on the time of day or whatever, there is a scheduling feature that the Tesla has where it will kick on when you tell it to. That's going to save you a bit of money. I know there even is a plan out there, I think it's an EV plan, at least in my area, where you get free electricity between certain hours. That means you're not going to spend anything to drive the Tesla. I like that feature. Unfortunately for me, it doesn't align with when we use electricity the rest of the day, and I actually would probably end up spending more money. Anyway, I just wanted to run through a few concerns about the battery, trying to preserve or maybe extend the range that you get for as long as you can. Leave a comment. Let me know. If you've got a Tesla, are you concerned about those things, or you just do what you do and it's got warranty and who cares? I'd just be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.